Hey, this is Randy Pringle, the fishing instructor, and you're watching WesternBass.tv.
Hi, this is Sean Aller, 2004 Junior Bassmaster World Champion. You're watching WesternBass.tv.
Hey, all right. I know that guy. I probably want to turn my mic on, huh? How's that? Can you hear me?
Are you going to tell us before it's got 34-inch full or?
Tell you what? You know what? And feel free to ask questions as I'm going along here, because, you know, there's probably a lot of things you want to know about Lake Hodges that I'm not going to address. But let me tell you what happened at Lake Hodges. If you haven't heard, I don't know. In August, we were at 17% capacity in terms of water, so there was no water in it. You couldn't launch boats. We didn't have a launching program. Really, the fishing program was minimum. You could launch kayaks, float tubes, and have shore fishing. The kayaks and the float tubers had a great time. They caught a lot of fish. But since August, the water came up 45 feet, and now we're spilling. So it was really a big mayday for the last 2 months to get the whole station ready to go, open up for recreation again. So now we have 30 rental boats. We're open to private boat launching once again. And the water is up under the I-15. There's plenty of cover for these fish, for the bass, the crappie, the catfish, lots of carp. And I'm anticipating the next couple of years, Lake Hodges will definitely be a world-class fishery once again. Right now, since opening on March 2nd, the fishing's been kind of slow, because when you have water that comes into a reservoir that quickly, it spreads things out. So we had, when it was 17% capacity, all those fish are really comfortable and kind of gathered up, right? But the water came up, they all spread out. So the guys are having a lot of success right now in certain pockets of the lake, primarily down by the dam, along the southern shoreline where you have all those rocks and stuff in the water. And they're also having some success down by the I-15. But the fish are spread out. They're having a great spawn, so I think next year's going to really be good. So, any questions at this point? What's that? Stock it? No, we don't stock it. Although we do stock catfish. We stocked catfish last August, but everything else pretty much sustains itself there. And as I said, with the water coming up, it's triggered a great instinct in the largemouth bass to have a tremendous spawn this year. There's a lot of cover for the small fry to hide in. So as I said, I'm thinking next year's going to be awesome.
What are the trees going to do to the water?
Well, as the trees decompose, it's going to make water quality worse. But I think that's more or less for the drinking water aspect. I don't think it's really going to affect the fishery at all. As you know, back in the 80s and 90s, that place flooded out, and the trees were in there. They broke down, but still, it was a tremendous fishery. And that's the great thing about Lake Hodges, is it has such a great forage base. You have great cover, and with all that cover, you have midges and things that live in those trees that feed the shad, that feed the bluegill, that feed the crappie, and that basically feed the chain of fish that the bass feed on. So and has anybody here seen Lake Hodges? You fished it? It was terrible? It was tough, huh? Yeah. Looks good, doesn't it?
Looks pretty.
Yeah.
Looks like the fish should be there.
Did you find any pockets of fish anywhere, or did you fish?
Didn't get bit.
Really? What was the water temp when you were out there? You don't know? Yeah, down by the dam it's about 60. Out by the I-15 it's already 70 degrees. So, but I think in the next couple of months, as we warm up, Hodges, it'll get good. Those fish will start grouping up. I've seen a lot of shad around the dam area and around the dock area right now. Big schools of them. So the shad are out. They're moving around. The water temp's about right for them. And when you have that forage up and around, the bass will definitely congregate underneath those, those fish and start feeding. But yeah, it's tough right now. Yeah, a lot of carp in that lake. That's one thing Hodges does have a lot of is carp. But but there's a contingent of people that love catching those things, and that's great. They can get them out of there for But any other questions? Yeah. Paul, how are you? Here's a carp fisherman, fly fisherman. The depth under the bridge, it's about 15 feet. Yeah. And the carp are back there so thick. I was back there the other day, and they're actually eating midges off the tree limbs. And I've got some bass fishermen that came in and they said, God, there's so many bass under the bridge, they're metering them. I'm like, well, those are probably carp. So, but I tell you, right now is the time to get out there. Have you been out there yet? Man, it's between now and June, it's going to be really, really good for the fly fishermen. And that's the other thing, Lake Hodges is a great fly fishing fishery as well. Not only for carp, I know carp kind of have this stigma about them, they're like a trash fish, but they're really a difficult fish to catch if you're into, like, for instance, game fishing or fly fishing. And they're a tremendous sport on a fly rod. As I said, they're pretty smart fish, they're hard to catch, so. But Hodges has a great stock of carp for fly fishermen. Yeah, they're really big. But anything else?
Is the only place to buy tickets around over by the boat dock?
Yeah. We don't have any remote rangers like some of the other reservoirs. We're definitely working on that. The problem with that is we'll put up a remote ranger. Let's say, for instance, Hernandez Hideaway, and somebody on a closey will come in with his truck and pull it with a chain and steal, and try to pull it out. So we've had that problem before. So, but right now, the only place you can buy your permit is either over at the concession stand, or you can go to any of the other city lakes and buy an advance permit. And it's great because on an advance permit, you can buy, like, for instance, the whole month. If you know you're going to be at let's say, Hodges on Saturday, and then the next Saturday you're going to go to San V, and then the next, let's say, Tuesday you go to Miramar, you can get all those things stamped out, and you're good to go. You can just come in and start fishing. So, and Lake Hodges is open Wednesday, Saturday, and Sunday only for fishing. Okay, some people think we're open 7 days a week, but it's Wednesday, Saturday, Sunday. And once again, we're open for full launching of private boats. We have a full rental skiff operation, 30 rental boats, 15 rowboats, 15 motorboats. And we have a full concession that's stocked with all the appropriate tackle and food. So.
Do you think you're going to get a good spawn this year?
Oh, we're getting it right now. In fact, the spawn's almost over. But yeah, it's going to be tremendous. And I think before you showed up, what happens when the water comes up that quickly, it sparks something in the bass, and they have these just really prolific spawning things going on. They may even spawn twice this year. So, and next year, if the water stays up, I mean, it's going to be great. And those fish will grow really fast because there's so much forage in the lake for them, all the way from the real little micro stuff all the way down to the shad. So as that fish grows, you can feed on different things. So yeah, it's going to be, next year is when I would really look for Hodges to be back to that world-class fishery. And once again, it totally hinges on the water level. If the water level drops back down to gauge 90, and there's some debate that they may do that to put in a pump station. They haven't put the pump station in yet. They're still working on it. Yeah, the Levenheim Reservoir, they're putting a pipeline from Levenheim down to Lake Hodges, but they need a pump station so they can pump the water out of Hodges into a Levenheim. They haven't put the pump station in yet. Right now they're in the beginning stages of that. Two things may happen. They may lower the water down to gauge 90 again, which would knock out all private boat launches, which is really a drag. Or the other option, which is something that I hope they do, is they're going to put up a cofferdam in the area around Hernandez Hideaway to where they're going to put the pump station so they can work on it, yet they're not going to have to lower the water level, which would be great. Right now, they don't know what they're going to do. So I definitely hope they're going to put in the cofferdam. If they do lower the water, I don't know, because we had such a tremendous spawn, those fish will definitely carry over for the next couple of years, but then again, we don't know when we're going to have that water up again if they do drop it. So.
Yeah, because it's only filled naturally, it's not filled man-made.
That's it. Yeah, but you saw how fast it filled up.
Yeah, but it hasn't rained like this in 10
That's
years.
it, yeah. I mean, it was, as I said, 17% capacity in August. Now we're over 100%. You should have seen it. I couldn't believe it. Came up 10 feet in an 8-hour period one day. I just went, oh my God. Did you see that? Man.
Amazing.
Have you fished out there? Have you seen? Oh, you haven't? I thought I've seen you out there. Okay.
They stopped putting the pilings in on the freeway, the extension, because of it.
It flooded all their equipment.
Yeah.
That was a big deal.
We dug a bunch of their equipment out right there. We had
Oh,
we went to
oh, did you? Okay. So now the other thing is they're talking about, and Caltrans is negotiating with the water department, is they may put a buoy line up in front of I-15 because they don't want people back in there. So, but I got to tell you, all the good fishing is actually this side of the I-15. If we get way back in there, it's not as good. So, but so Lake Hodges is up and it's running, and let's hope that they keep the water up. I think in the next couple of months, we'll see the fishing definitely improve. We'll get into the summer months. It'll be good, but it won't be outstanding. But look for next year to start, a tremendous many years of great fishing, because once they have the Levenheim pipeline in, the lake is going to be stay at between gauge, I think 98 and 111, and that's perfect.
Okay, 98 to 111.
98, you can launch your boats. It's up on the launch ramp, the second launch ramp.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but the other great thing about the Levenheim pipeline and the water coming in is it's going to improve the water quality, which is good. So, there won't be any fish die-offs or anything like that. So.
They're not like putting any area systems in, are they?
No, because not at this point. They had one out there at one time, but it hasn't been in service for a long time. But I think the influx of all that fresh water mixed with the Hodges water will just be awesome. And who knows? I mean, it may even support some sort of trout fishery in the future. I don't know, but it could be good. Trout fishing in that lake, if they had trout in there with the midge population, I mean that would be insane. I mean, I'm a fly fisherman, so I look at things in the perspective of a fly fisherman a lot, and that lake is just unbelievable. So, but oh man, could you imagine that? It'd be great. So, but that's Lake Hodges, and come by, check it out. It's just beautiful to get out there. And the fish counts? Still about the same. We had an 11.5 caught on Wednesday. We had an 8.5 caught on. No, I'm sorry. 11.5 was caught Sunday. The 8.5 was caught Wednesday. So we're seeing a few big fish.
Yeah, but they're being metered and everything else. But right now, if you went in that lake with a rowboat, you're kind of going to be real blind.
It'd be tough. Yeah, those fish were taking off deep structures. So crappie fishing's actually okay. I mean, that's not bad if you crappie fish. And they're all good-sized fish. Pound and a half. Guys are getting, 4 and 5 a day. So they're not getting like 25 a day, the big limits.
It seemed like there was an excessive amount of organic right. When I got home, everything stunk.
Oh yeah, well that's because you had all that water rushing in from the San Pasqual Valley. Lake Hodges has a 302 square mile watershed. It's the biggest of any of the city lakes. So you have all that water coming in from everywhere. And it really brought in a little... Oh yeah, if you saw the water, it's kind of a tannic color. Yeah, it's kind of nasty, but that is actually good for the bait fish. It's a lot of forage for them. It's a lot of good biomass. So, but yeah.
That'll come down.
Oh, it'll come down, yeah.
3 or 6 months.
I would say in a couple of months probably. But that lake always had kind of a tannic stain to it. It was always kind of dirty. But that, as I said, that's great because it's great for the bait fish, And it's interesting, Lake Hodges back in the late 80s and 90s produced more 15-pound largemouth bass than any reservoir in the United States, And
I was there opening.
oh, you were there?
I was 18 years old.
Wow. And here's another interesting fact: Lake Hodges doesn't stock rainbow trout.
Nope.
That's what's amazing.
So now you can see how great the forage is in that lake for those fish. Yeah. So exactly. So anyway, so that's it for Lake Hodges. Any other questions? All right. All right. Hey, thanks for showing up, and come out and check us out. All right.